Hey folks, Geoff Hetherington here with this week's education. It's going to be a mix today. We're going to be talking a little bit about planning because it's January, but more importantly, I want to introduce you to what we're going to be doing this year, which is a 52-week MBA. A couple of people have said to me, what's an MBA? That stands for Masters of Business Administration. I have two of those, one in ordinary business and one in international business. I got a long time ago, but they cost a lot of money to do. Currently, it's about $35,000 for a cheap one. So what I have done is talking to Jay is we've put together a program which is the equivalent of an MBA, if you like, but aimed at small businesses. So hopefully you guys will find it useful. As usual, there's no BS here. There's no rainbows or unicorns, just stuff you can actually use. For the new people who don't know who this talking head is, that's me. The only things to know really is I've successfully run my own coaching agency, if you like, for the last 12 years. Before that, I had 30 plus years as a C-suite executive in Southeast Asia and here in Australia in 12 different industries. And before that, I used to lecture on business at university. And before that, I was a high school teacher. So I've been around for a while. Time is always short, so I'm just going to quickly run through the what we're touching on in the MBA thing for the rest of the year, but I'll also then get into the planning for you guys. So part one is we're going to be looking at the first 12 weeks, the first 90 days, to giving you a seven-figure foundation in your business. The first thing there will obviously be quarterly business plan and cadence. We'll be looking at how you can create some market dominating positioning for your business. That'll take a couple of weeks. We'll look at how to make sure you've identified your perfect target market, and we want to know how and what they're thinking. We'll talk about that. We'll look at selecting your target market in case things changed, low-hanging fruit, why people buy, etc., etc. So that's pretty much the first 12 weeks. Part two is we're going to be looking at creating competition beating marketing, and that's going to take us from everything from how to write persuasive marketing to how to create a genuine online presence, which is close to omnipresent. And we'll be looking at how to create a revenue plan so you know where you're going. Part three looks a little short, but that's really about secret weapons for finances, and that's really about strategic partnerships and referrals. And part four is profit growth strategies, where we look at everything from how to use email marketing properly to spending a few weeks talking about the different aspects of networking. So all of that is open to change, of course, over the next 12 months. I'm happy to take feedback. If there are particular things people want to know about, we'll do it. I also need to be clear that Jay and I, some of you've heard about the Ignition program. That's a 12-week program that we're thinking about dusting off again this year. That is a small group program aimed at helping you guys get your business up and running. What I'll be doing the next 52 weeks is presenting stuff you can use, but it won't be as in-depth as it would be as if you were working with me one-to-one or in a group, but you can certainly get great information out of it. Quick story with all the floods. It's probably quite topical if you live along the Great Ocean Road down there in Melbourne, around Lorne and Apollo Bay and all those sorts of areas. So there's a flood. The water rises up to the ceiling and a man climbs up on his roof. And the SES come by in their boat and they say, "Come on, mate, hop in. We'll get you out of here." And he says, "No, God will look after me. God will look after me." And they go off. The waters rise. He's right in the peak of his roof. A helicopter comes over. The guy leans down and says, "Come on, mate, get on the rope and we'll get you out of here." He said, No, God will look after me. God will look after me." The helicopter goes away. The waters continue to rise, and sadly, he falls in the water and he's drowned. And he appears at the pearly gates and he goes to St. Peter. He says, "I've been a godly man all my life." He said, "Why didn't God save me?" He said, "What more do you want? We sent you two opportunities to get on with things." This is what happens with us sometimes is we believe too much. We get caught up in our own BS so much that we miss opportunities. We are currently on the 20th day of January. Without asking for hands, I would suggest there are a number of you here who don't even have a plan finished for this year. I'd suggest a number of you don't have a marketing plan. I haven't suggested a number of you are just going on the same way as you did last year. January is the beginning of the first quarter, and we'll be talking about things. The good news is you've still got time to get a plan in place. The worst thing you can do is have a clear path but no execution. So one of the things I suggest you do when you're starting planning, and even if you've done your planning, use this to revisit it, is a thing called anti-goals. Sit down with a piece of paper and decide what it is you actually don't want to see in your life, in your business, in your relationships in 2026. Write them down. What type of clients do you don't want to work with? Now, and what is it that you don't want to do? What do you want your business not to look like? Anti-goals are important because they help us understand what things we might actually be accepting that we really don't want to anymore. But once you've got your anti-goals down and you're very clear on what you don't want to see in your life and business in 2026, you should create some anchors for more positive stuff. Those of you who've worked with me in the past know that each year I get people to choose 3 words to use as a filter for their business. My 3 words this year are, reset, regroup, and revitalize. Again, a lot of you know that I've had quite a few operations the last 14 months or so I'd like to really get back on track. But pick 3 words that literally you can use as a filter to make sure that you're on track for this year. Maybe you should have 1 phrase. Most plans fail because people skip a foundation. Don't make the mistake of setting goals without defining why you care about them. What's your dreaming outcome for the year? Where are you headed? What's the end game for 2026? Figure out your why, what drives you to do it. And look, it's fine if it's just to make money so I can keep food on my family's table. That's just as justified as I want to end poverty worldwide. But decide very clearly on why your why is and what it is about, because unless you're clear with these things, then you'll just drift. And the headline, how do you want the world to see your success? Maybe it's worthwhile creating a headline for things as well. Creating your anchors, here's an example of it. 3 words: repair, revitalize, and rise. 1 phrase: will it make the boat go faster? Will it help my business get there quicker? Dream outcome, where you're headed. The driver: owner freedom. If you're an owner, you should be free. And maybe the headline you'd like to see in a newspaper is owner builds 7-figure education company while working 4 days a week and traveling the world. I don't know what it is for you. That's not mine, by the way. But this idea of anchors following on from anti-goals is really important because it will help you get very, very clear and give you things to return to focus when you feel things starting to drift. So we won't do it now because we're short on time, but think about this, and you can get this from the replay tomorrow. What are your 3 words for 2026? What's the 1 phrase that you will use to repeat and maybe stick on a sticky note above your computer screen that will help keep you on track? What's the dream outcome? Where do you want to be December 31st this year? Why does it matter to you? And maybe go ahead and write that success headline, how you'd like to be seen. Of course, goals and things like that are fine unless you've actually got a system. They don't work. Many owners talk about goal setting and key performance indicators and targets. And the thing is, they want to do a lot. They want to grow their revenue, build a team, fix operations, launch products, have 6 weeks off, and they try to do too much. The idea is to avoid the trap of having too many goals and just set the top 3 goals that will create leverage in your business so that you end 2026 better than 2025, and you end 2026 set up for an even greater 2027. So 3 suggested goal umbrellas. I suggest that you have a business growth goal, a time at work goal, and a health goal. Those of you who've had any health issues would know that it's damn hard to keep a business going if your health's not all that you would like it to be. So business goal, time at work goal, and health goal. If you're a small business person, you are probably typically working in excess of 60, 70, or even 80 hours a week. It'd be nice to dial that back to, say, 35 or 40, don't you think? Should build execution systems. So look at your business and think, what things can I systemize in it? What things can I automate? Jay is the absolute master of automating his business, and using a tool like the CRM and the GHL suite of products there is absolutely a great way to do this sort of thing. But what habits can you have that will lock in daily progress? I'm not saying you need to be part of Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. club and get up and meditate and then cold bath and then journal. But what habits have you got that will help you with your daily progress? There's a thing Stephen Bartlett, who wrote The Diary of a CEO, does called the 5 buckets, which Jay uses very well, and I do as well. If you don't know, look it up. It's worthwhile looking at. What tasks can you automate or delegate this first 90 days of the year to get them off you, to free you up to be more creative in your business? What things are you going to stop doing? It's good to look at what you do in your business and in your life and say, what things can I do without? Because often things creep in, especially in business. We end up doing things that really don't make any difference to us. Is there a daily ritual you can go through to keep yourself locked in? And maybe there's a weekly ritual. Bottom line is systems work. Why do systems work? Because systems don't require motivation. And that's the point. If you've got systems, things happen anyway. You should also, when you're planning, identify your support circles. The Big Connected World membership is certainly one of the better support circles I've come across. But who can help me with a specific issue? Do I need help getting SEO right on my website? There's people here that can help you with that, for instance. Is there mentors available, or a mentor I can lean on? A mentor is someone who has already got to where you want to get to and is able to give you advice on how to get there. In other words, they're like a coach. They provide you with a shortcut. Is there a team member, if I have a team in my business, that I can empower? Can I help my VA do more training? With my VA, the lovely Al Jane in the Philippines, we've just worked out her training plan for the year and some courses I'm paying for her to do. But is there a team member I can help get better? Do I have an accountability partner? Is there a colleague or a peer or a family member or a friend who's going to call me on my BS and hold me accountable? If I say I'm going to write a book by the end of February, who's going to hold my feet to the fire if I don't? And are there any courses I can do to fill in some of my gaps? The only caveat I put here is be very, very careful with taking on courses. Doing a course by itself feels busy, feels like we're achieving something, but unless you implement what you learn in the course, it actually means nothing. It's wasted time and it's distracted you. So try and look at those areas of your business or yourself where your skill set is down or where your business needs help, and choose courses that will help you fill the gap. Remember, learning's great, but learning plus implementation is what wins the day for you. So identifying your support system, a name, who's someone who's ahead of you in your industry or in your business that you think you could talk to. Remember, a mentor is someone who's done what you want to achieve, a teammate, someone who's ready to level up and help in your business, your accountability partner. Write them down, those people, and give them a call this week. Try and sort them out. The end of April is April is the beginning of the second quarter of the year. July is the third quarter and October is the final quarter. Wouldn't it be nice to get through to December 31st and know that you've grown your business, done some things for your health, your relationships, and your life outside business, and got there? Quarterly planning tends to work best. But how do you do it? Lots of people overcomplicate it. It's not that bad. First step is you break 2026 down into quarters. So like I said, January to the end of March, April to the end of June, etc. So quarter one, but write down a focus for each month. Now, quarter one is normally, for most people in business, is about getting a plan in place, getting systems done and things like that. What's quarter two going to be for you? It might be asset creation. It might be working on your marketing. Quarter three might be a real sales emphasis. Quarter four might be expansion. I don't know. But figure out the 4 things you want to try and achieve this year so you can look at them quarterly. And then your quarters, you break them down into monthlies, into a monthly cadence. So month 1 of the quarter, what is the goal I want to achieve that month? Month 2, what's the next goal? And month 3, what's the next goal? And those 3 goals should roll up into your theme for the quarter that you want to do to move you forward. Again, you do that every quarter to month 12. And then each month you break them down into a weekly cadence. Now, I just did a course this morning with Taki Moore, who is probably the world's greatest coach of coaches, and he does a program called Sold Out. But essentially what he does is week 4 is where he sells his program, and weeks 1, 2, and 3 is where he's actually creating and delivering content to get people excited about joining his programs. So maybe week 1 for you is sorting out marketing. Maybe week 2 is just delivery to clients. Maybe week 3 is working on this. I don't know what it is for you. But if you can figure out a weekly cadence for each month and then do that month after month for your quarter and then repeat that for quarter after quarter, you are going to make a lot of progress. Thing is, if you're going into each week or each month without some idea of a theme, you're just going to drift. And that's fine if you're going away on holidays for a month. But other than that, it's very dangerous to you and your business. So here's an example of a weekly cadence. Week 1, I'm going to look at my product and my service reviews. Week 2, marketing audit and change plans. Week 3, sales plan and plan the next 3 weeks. Week 4, sales plan. Oh, sorry, repeated that one. Execute it and then do this every week until week 12, the end of the quarter. That's not the same for every month. That may change depending on what the theme is for the month, the overall theme for the quarter. But let's be honest, no plan guarantees that you're going to get to where you want to get to. But a 90-day system with a weekly focus gets you closer to where you want to be than guessing for the next 12 months. So this year, 2026, what are you going to do that's not the same? Ask yourself, what am I going to do that's different from last year? For heaven's sake, just don't stick your head in the sand. Get some help. If you're wanting to go up, find a hand. If you like a hand, stop. If you're feeling drowning or overwhelmed, well, guess what? Let's have a chat. You have a chat with me, as most of the people on this call who've already had one will tell you. I'll just try and help you get yourself out of the hole, and it won't be a sales call, and there was nothing to buy on the call in any case. So that's it, folks. 52-week MBA coming up, different stuff each week. I look forward to your feedback on or topics, that things you'd like us to look at. It will be stuff that you can take away and use, but it obviously won't be as in-depth as if working with me or taking part in, say, the Ignition program. And then quarterly planning. Break your year up into 4 quarters, assign a big goal for each quarter, break each quarter into 3 months with a monthly goal, and break each month down into weekly things to do. And you'll be amazed at how far you can get in such a short period of time. That's it. Thank you.